this video, I would like to show you how to block different types of file attachments in emails in Office 365 via Exchange Online Protection. Exchange Online Protection has built-in detection and protection capabilities, obviously, to protect your organization from malware. But on the other hand, as you probably already know, there is no protection that is really 100% bulletproof. So it's a good idea and good practice to have multiple protections in place, so have this layered protection approach in place, and blocking potentially risky file types in emails is one of the protection layers that you can have in place to protect your organization from malware or other malicious software distributed over email. And it's actually a very effective way how you can protect your organization from any malicious file attachments in emails that you do not recognize or you don't want in your environment in general. So it's very strong protection and definitely recommended from my side. How to configure it? We can configure it via a policy created in the Microsoft Defender XDR portal. So go to security.microsoft.com, which is the Defender XDR portal. And in the left menu, expand email and collaboration, scroll a little down and open policies and rules. Go to threat policies and open anti-malware policies. As you can see, there is one default policy that's always there. It's by default pre-created for you in all tenants. So we are going to create a new policy here. So we click the create button. First, we name the policy. So let's call it, for instance, block file attachments in emails. But you can name it however you want. Then you need to include, or on the other hand, exclude users, groups, or domains. As usually, I recommend you to start with some small groups of users and expand the scope of the policy gradually to avoid negative impact on your organization. So start with a small group of users and then potentially include whole domains. The goal of this policy should be to include really all users in your organization. So if you have a group that includes all users in the organization, you can put it to groups. If you have domains that you use for emails in your organization and it's limited number of domains that's not changing frequently, you can also scope the policy to domains. It's up to you, but the end goal should be to really include all users in your organization and don't forget any leftovers. So I'm going to go with domains. There is only one domain in my tenant, which is the Moera domain. I don't have any custom domain here, so I select just this domain. It's a test tenant, so I don't need to scope it first. I can really go ahead and create it for all users. But like I said, you should start in your production environment with a small group of users and then expand gradually. Speaking of domains, it's very important to include also the Moera domain, which is the .onmicrosoft.com domain. And that's something that I usually see not configured properly. If organizations decide to target domains in their environment, they very often forget this Moera domain. But this Moera domain is a valid domain in your organization. And you may find that there are actually user mailboxes that have this domain configured as an alias, for example. So if you don't include this domain in the protection, this domain will be unprotected, which means it can be potentially abused by threat actors. So definitely don't forget to include this domain as well if you target domains. All right, we can click next. As you can see, there is a predefined configuration with pre-selected file attachment types, which is good because the most sensitive or most risky file types are already pre-configured. But you should include more. So we click select file types. And this is the list of pre-created or predefined file types that are blocked by default. As you can see, most of the most sensitive or most risky file types are already here, such as the CMD files, exe files, MSC files, and so on. But there is many more. If you want to add more, and you should add more, you can simply click this input field, and it will show you all file types that Exchange Online Protection can recognize that you can include in this policy. And my general recommendation here would be to really include everything that you don't recognize or you specifically don't want to allow in your environment. As you can see, or as you probably will see here on the list, there is a lot of file types that you probably don't even know. And it's a good practice, as usual, to block everything that's not needed. So go through the list and block everything that's not needed in your environment. You just need to be careful because there are really all file types that Exchange Online Protection can recognize, including the well-known file types such as dots or .x files for Word or XLS files for Excel, PDF files, and many more. So it's usually not a good idea to include these as well, or zip files. So go through the list one by one and really include everything that you don't want to allow in your environment. The good thing about this list is that you can simply click it, and as you can see, it then disappears from the list. So you can literally go from the top to the bottom one by one and select everything that you don't want or you do not recognize. You don't need to worry about duplicate records because, as you can see, it disappears as soon as you add it to the list. So go through the list one by one and include everything that you don't want to allow in your environment. Then don't forget to click this add button, because when you click this add button, it's actually added to the list of file attachments that are blocked. Then you can click done, and you see that we have expanded the original list of something plus 43 to something plus 55 file types, because I have selected 12 file types that I want to block. So go through the list and select everything that you don't want to have allowed in your environment. At the end, you will probably end up with something like 150 file types that will be blocked. Because like I said, most of the file types are not common, should not be allowed. So go through the list and select really everything that's not needed. Then you need to decide what you actually want to do with emails that contain these file types that you have selected. So you can either reject the message with a non-delivery receipt, which is a standard NDR, or you can quarantine the message. So in general, when you block something in email, you should send NDR. That's the general practice. But on the other hand, more practical is the quarantine option. And the reason for that is that when you send NDR, you notify the sender that this email was not allowed, was rejected, which is fine. The sender knows that it was rejected. But on the other hand, there's nothing you can do about it. When you put the file or the email to quarantine, you can actually see it in quarantine and you can release it from the quarantine if needed. So if you find the email false positive, or if it's something that the user expects and it's one in a time exception, then you can simply go to the quarantine and release the email, which means that it will be delivered to the end user. So it's up to you what you choose. But in practice, I, in most cases, recommend quarantine because, like I said, you can see the messages in quarantine and you can potentially release them from quarantine. So I'm going to go ahead and select this quarantine option. Then what you should enable is 0-hour auto purge for malware. The reason for that is that it allows you or the engine on the background in Exchange Online Protection to actually apply this policy also to existing emails. When you choose quarantine, you should also choose the right quarantine policy. The policy defines who actually has access to the quarantined emails. The default is admin only access policy, which is definitely my recommendation as well. The other options that are available are default full access policy or default full access with notification policy. The other two options that are by default on this list allow end users to see messages in their own quarantine and also potentially release these messages from quarantine, which is definitely not recommended for the general population of your users. End users should not be able to release potentially suspicious messages from quarantine. Only administrators or the SOC team should be able to do that, which is why I have this recommendation to allow admin-only access policy. Choose this admin-only access policy. Of course, if you have a custom policy that's similar to admin-only access policy, you can go ahead and choose this policy, but it should be really something equivalent. That only administrators or the SOC team should be able to see the messages and potentially release them from quarantine, not general end users. You can also then configure notifications so that admins will be notified when there is something in the quarantine. It's completely up to you, optional if you want to have the notifications turned on or not. So I'm gonna go ahead with this setting. The last page of the wizard is just a recap of what we have configured. So we see the included domain, which is the Moyar domain in my tenant, the file types that we block, and also that 0-hour auto purge is turned on and everything else is off. I'm fine with this policy, so I'm clicking submit. And as you can see, the policy is here. It's turned on automatically and the priority is 0, which means the highest priority. So this policy will be processed first. This is it. I hope you liked the video. If you like the video, please share it. Please like the video also on Patreon. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly or leave a comment underneath the video. That's all from my side for today. Don't forget to follow my profiles on social networks such as LinkedIn, Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, or Threads. I also have a blog that is called Cybersecurity World. You can easily find me. Don't forget to follow the blog as well. And that's really all from my side for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.